Not all inflatable fishing kayaks are built the same, and getting the wrong one will not only cost you hundreds or thousands of dollars, it'll leave you with regret and despair, and you'll never want to fish again. But it doesn't have to be this way. I've tested two of the best inflatable fishing kayaks on the market. I have the Wilderness Systems iAtak 110 and the Isle Switch Pro. Both of these are really good fishing kayaks. However, one will lead to happy family adventures and the other will lead to thousands of dollars in family counseling. Okay, I'm being a bit dramatic with that, but you get the point. While both of these inflatable kayaks have fishing features, one is targeted for more serious anglers and one is targeted for the family man. If at any point throughout this video you decide that, hey, that's the inflatable kayak for me, I would appreciate it if you use the affiliate links in the description. I get a small commission from those at no extra cost to you. Otherwise, let's get back into the video. The Wilderness Systems iAtak 110 was expertly designed for kayak anglers for many reasons. Number one, it's got a super cozy seat. This thing is the most comfortable seat that I've ever been in any inflatable kayak. So if you're looking to stay comfortable while you're fishing, Wilderness Systems iAtak 110 is the way to go. It's also very riggable for an inflatable kayak, meaning you can add your rod holders, cup holders, even a fish finder if you want. It's also pretty durable. I've ran it into sticks, rocks, walked on it on land. I mean, I've put this thing through the ringer and it's held up for several months for me so far. Also, the drop stitch flooring makes it pretty stable and I have stood up to fish in it. Lastly, it keeps most of the water out. The higher walls on the side mean that if you encounter some waves or if you take it down some rapids, you're not gonna just get overrun with water. Not saying you don't catch a rogue wave and fill it with water or take on a crazy rapid that splashes over the side, but it'll keep quite a bit of water off of you most of the time. As much as I've come to love this inflatable kayak, there are some drawbacks that you need to be aware of. Number one, it's pretty heavy for an inflatable kayak. It's not one that I want to take several miles up a hiking trail, find a river and float back down. It's more of, okay, I took it out of the back seat or the trunk, rolled it to the spot that's nearby and hit the water with it, because it is about 50 pounds-ish. So if you're looking for a more of a pack raft to go on your fishing adventures, this might not be the one you're looking for. Also, because it's got sides and a flooring, it takes longer to air up. You've got two large compartments to fill up with air compared to only one on the Isle Switch Pro. So if you're looking for speed and agility, once again, this one takes longer to get on the water with because you've got more to air up. And I said I've stood up and fished from this, and I have, but it was awkward getting from the sitting position to the standing position because the seat is so low. It's possible, it's doable, but it takes just a little bit of getting used to. Also, while this is very stable, I haven't even come close to flipping it. It's a little wobbly when you're standing. So if you don't have great balance, you're probably not gonna be able to stand very long in this kayak. If these cons are just too much for you to handle, then don't fear. The Isle Switch Pro is here to save the day. It is very stable. I've stood up on this multiple times. I've fished from it while standing, and that's because it's designed as a stand-up paddleboard and kayak hybrid. So you get the best and worst of both worlds from this kayak. It's also lighter. Even though it's longer, it only has one compartment, so it doesn't take as long to air up and get on the water and start fishing or hanging out with the family. That's another pro of this. It's not only a fishing machine. Now, if you're a dedicated angler, it's not a pro, but I've also taken this out with just the family for a fun day of hanging out at the lake. My daughter and my cousin's little girl were jumping off of it, acting like crazy hooligans, all while I was on it too. So if you're looking for more of a family-friendly rig, this is also your best bet. I believe both of these are made from the same material, so they're both very durable. This one, once again, we've ran into sticks, we've ran it across rocks, and there's no holes in it, and you can hardly tell. So I have very few doubts that this is gonna hold up for a while and be very durable for the average person. Lastly, it was designed with anglers in mind to a point. You see, Isle offers a kayak crate upgrade that you can buy that attaches to this Switch Pro, and they actually built in motor mounts, which I thought was amazing for an inflatable kayak. I haven't seen it before. Sadly, I haven't actually got to test that feature because number one, I don't have the motor for it, nor do I have the hardware to mount a motor to it, but I've seen it a little bit in action through videos and other stuff, and it seems like a really cool feature that I would love to explore just a little bit more. And I can see it benefiting anglers to get to their favorite fishing spots a little quicker, or just to save energy. But once again, this boat is not perfect, because if you're gonna fish in the wintertime, you don't wanna get wet, and you're gonna get wet on this. Now in the summertime, like today when it's scorching hot, no problem, I don't mind getting wet. Heck, I probably am gonna be hanging over the side, splashing myself, or jumping in trying to swim, cool off for a little bit. So getting wet isn't that big of a deal in the summertime, but if you fish in the fall, the winter, the early spring, getting wet is usually less ideal because it's still kind of chilly outside or the water's just too cold and you'll get hypothermia. And while this seat is reasonably comfortable, you can air it up to how dense you want that seat. It's not as comfortable as the iAtak seat. Plus, since it sits so low to the flooring, it's still difficult to go from sitting to standing. So you don't get much of a benefit over the iAtak in that regard. The other downside is the lack of rigging options. As you can tell, there's no way to really mount a depth finder, to mount extra rod holders or anything. Now the IO Kayak Crate does come with some rod holders, so you do have that option, I guess, but it's not nearly as riggable as the iAtak 110. So if you're one like me who absolutely loves customizing and rigging your kayak, the Switch Pro probably isn't for you. So who the heck are these boats for? As an avid angler, I found myself gravitating towards the iAtak 110 a lot more often when I don't want to haul my trailer or throw my hard-sided kayak in the back of the truck or on top of the SUV. That's because it's dedicated solely to kayak fishing. You know, it was designed with several features for kayak anglers like me and mine. However, for the family man and somebody looking for a fun paddleboard kayak to take to the lake with the family and then fish from occasionally, it's hard to beat the IO Switch Pro because it has a few fishing features and options that are available, but it's great for families looking to have an amazing time at the lake for the day. So if you still can't decide between the two, I've got an in-depth review on the Wilderness Systems iAtak 110 that I'll leave right here for you to check out. And if you're considering buying the IO Switch Pro, you can check out this video right here. Can't wait to see you in those videos.